Hello, I'm Jeffrey Hauser, playing guard duty. Point and click adventure game. It looks very retro, which is what I was expecting. Not really sure. I don't know much about it. But here we go.
Initiation sequence
Initiated.
time until human extinction in seconds.
When will the suffering end?
Two.
This world was once a land rich with love and harmony.
Do you really believe that?
7,
Go to hell!
You know,
6,
I'd rather not go back.
5,
This is far too much
4,
fun.
3,
Turn it off,
Two.
or I'll shoot!
1.
So, I was expecting. Oh, that's interesting. I was expecting more a sci-fi fantasy thing. Well, this is more like what I was expecting.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Oh, who is it? I'm gonna need to know your name. Give me a name. Don't mind me. Well, must you mind me? Did you bring me a present? It's my birthday, don't you know? You know what? Never mind. I got all I need right here in the kingdom. Lovely Princess Fairman. You can look at her all day. She's pretty as a petal, she is.
A princess, you say? So that's a young princess of heritage, royal blood, I presume.
Just about as royal as they get.
Interesting. Look, if you don't mind, it's been a long night.
Oh, right, my manners? Not a problem, sir. Let me get the gate.
Idiot.
Oi, Tom Burt, get your ass to the throne room, pronto.
Ugh, how much did I drink last night? It feels like my brain's trying to escape through my eye sockets.
I wonder what the king wants with me.
Infinity pouch.
My trusty.
Here's my pencil. Great. £1.
It's a bit dusty. I'm no god. I can't move it. I'm no god. I can't reach it. Besides, I'm not. Yeah, right. I can't reach him from here. We've been there for weeks. Yeah, I think I've read that enough. I'll leave it there.
I'll leave it where it is.
Selling this set sure was a rookie mistake. I found it at the pawn shop for half a shilling. The busty barmaid and the seductive sorceress. I can't help but find the cliffhanger ending a little frustrating. It's a bit dusty. Ah, Baby Blue. She keeps me warm at night. Underwear, how raunchy. Unfortunately, they're all mine. There's still a good bit of life left in it. Lucky, because they're a pain in the arse to replace. Oh, you can't read. Besides, I've got a day or two before it needs replacing. Oh, mysterious book. I wonder what secrets you hold. Ah, wobble squats. It's just out of my reach. Shh, it's sleeping.
It's too high for me to reach, not to mention really heavy. Besides, I'm pretty sure it's empty. Hold on, there's nothing in here. Someone's nicked my uniform. Nothing else.
2 green bottles sitting on the floor. I can't clean them up yet. I'm saving up to build a pyramid. The Definitive Collection of Convenient Excuses. Volume 2. I would take it, but I'm allergic to paper.
I'll leave it where it.
Nothing much but dust and dead bugs. I'll just take one. Wouldn't want to be greedy. Darts, sharp and pointy. I've already got one.
Someone's locked me in. It doesn't make any sense. I lost that key years ago. How the hell am I going to get out of here now?
What do you want me to do? Rope. Seems... I think I'd be better off if I tied it to... That'll do nicely. Just don't tell Elf and Safety.
Okay, that's a little funny.
Let's dance to the Casey Dungeon. Really clean and take down there. Christmas for me is serious. Oh yeah, well that's his name. You didn't know you took it over here. This is the cool. The fun is here. Well, let's dance to the Casey Dungeon.
What you say? Oi, hands off! Hey, Knuckles, look who the cat dragged in.
Who's this? A complete stranger? In the castle of all places?
Filthy street urchin larking about in the castle. Pond dirt?
Dong squirt?
Never heard of him. Dusty, please escort Mr. Longskirt out of the castle. He's making the place stink of booze.
Save it, Shorty. I can smell the ale on you from here.
Sorry, tiny man.
You need to see the history here. Chances are it's still in its green case. You should see how you look it up.
Oh dear God of all that is pretty! What's happened to you?
I'm just stuck on laser booze.
Oh, right.
The units stingers. And then and all that is converted to the castle.
Look, I got to break it to you. You're not making any sense. Go on then. What was it? Hornets? Nettles? Working girl? Don't answer that. Save me the spit shower. You know, a pinch and juicer route or sort that. Might even have some down at the market. Look, do you need me to write it down for you? I can see spoken word is not exactly your forte right now. Give me something to write on, and I'll draw you a picture. That's the ticket. Pass it here. There you go. Show that to the fruit merchant at the market. He'll know exactly what you mean.
Oh, thanks. Look at that. Let's do some practicing. Look at that.
That's not the you!
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Come here. Let me take a look at you. Hello, handsome. Remember me? Not before you give old Gertie a kiss. Come here. I'm waiting, lover boy. Ain't hard to get, eh?
Ah, so after some Medusa root I see. Gonna cost ya? That stuff ain't cheap. 10 gold coins.
Don't look like he's got the coin, boss.
Aye, that's tough luck, kid. Maybe a good old-fashioned potato will do the trick.
Whoa there, Echo Man. That's far enough.
Don't mind him. His bark is worse than his bite. But if you ain't got the coin, you better start walking. Still open? We never close.
Yay.
Here at Fruit for Sale, we pride ourselves on providing the finest range of fresh fruit, exotic spices, and herbal remedies from across the lands. Nowhere else will you find such rarities as the Argonian bouncing vine fruit, Studgemore virgin rose root, or even the highly sought after Stale Valley beef root. Although our reputation lies in selling the finest quality imports, we also offer a value range, catering to our lesser fortunate customers. Often misshapen, soured, or slightly fungal, our value range of fruit and spices offer the same medical benefits of fresh goods, only with the occasional bouts of vomit. That's right, value for money. Plenty to be had at Fruit for Sale. We accept no liability for our customers' safety when shopping in the value range. Always chew responsibly and never swallow. I cannot stress that enough.
Poor Jimmy.
Little lad never listened. I've got to admit, you're kind of adorable. Can't imagine you're half as fun normally. Would you look at that? I think he's lost the plot, Barry.
Sure looks like it.
You know, we can't sell spice to minors. Oh, ain't that cute? The lad's a bit slow.
I think he's got something wrong with his face.
Oh, right, you think? I thought that was one of them birthmarks.
Nah, birthmarks don't leak like that.
Right you is. Sorry about that. You got any money, lad? Can't understand a word he's saying. Can you, Barry?
Just give him a bunch and he'll leave us alone. One of the furry ones.
What do I look like, a bloody charity?
Poor lad could do with a break.
Tells you what, lad, because I'm an honest fruit vendor, and I pride myself on providing a quality service to all my clients, no matter their financial situation. I'll cut you a break. You can have just one of these fine fruit you see before you. But choose wisely, for while the ripe fruit will bring you good health, the stale fruit will take it from you. You have chosen wisely. There you go.
Looks like you get blasted. He's really wicked and everything is still and wicked. Excuse me, sir. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Can't you see I'm busy, kid?
So they didn't play you. There's some sort of strange machine in the back. Looks like it's made from cast iron. I want this one.
I'll give it to you for just 30 coins. I'll take that nonsensical mumble as a no.
Look, it's a favorite slightly round sound. It's an elongated fistula stew. The big circular opening in the mouth. A free-floating milk feeding fade green liquid. That milk was really eyeballs. Give me some great nervous process. It gets you really into the stuff. So, Chelsea, with the last year's taxidermy. I guess this is kind of a... You've seen it before. You shift it into and play. The same flies against the air, lightning speed. Pretty neat, actually. I want this one.
I'll give it to you for just... I'll take that nonsensical mumble as a...
There's a giant pixel born on the wall. That looks happy. There's a fancy looking box over there. See the wicked box with a smiley face on top. Nice, you're nothing like it. It is funny. He's been using the animal senators to keep us out of your face. This one is a nice big boy. Makes it so kind of petrified bird. Pretty stuff. The player should make justice and give them a fire design. Maybe you can still walk. Some kind of stiff cheating style. It's really a tiny little to that. What if you came in like in a hot test? Was it here, hanging out of? It's true, this is a guy for life. It's a guy, this is true. There's a signature to the right here. Yes, this is happening to you. You know that Tom uses it. Maybe I can acquire this one. It's an eggnog. Yes, you hear the egg. Who knows this? Looks like it's a kind of fancy figure on a strange, shiny cartoon. Some kind of cartoon baby it looks like. Gonna use to make a picture of it. There's a big be 50 china teeth. If you beat, I guess, does that take teeth? Apparently, if you have any guys this week, you can keep it in the show that's all the best. Next thing says in a fancy ticket, says one gift. Free stain discs. Let's be a about it. What do they use for? This is safe in the corner. Next for the night.
I think there are a lot of in-jokes. This weird necklace looks like it's from Monkey Island, I think. Wasn't there like a eyeball necklace or something similar? And the Sai would be Grim Fandango, I think.
Blimey, you're right, mate. I'll take that nonsensical mumble as a no. I'm afraid we're all out of the boil remedy. Could I tempt you with a rather large hat? Comes with a dashing pink bow. I'll give it to you for just 30 coins. Quite a steal, ain't it? Come back soon. Hey, hands off. That ain't for sale.
There's a fancy looking box over there. You don't see that needs to be stamped.
Leave me alone, would you? I haven't any time. Stop bothering me. Be off with you. Keep your grub. That furnace is operating. I don't need pesky.
Excellent. It's a Saturday to this day, and I really need to do
Ah, come to your senses, have you? One last kiss. Oh, well, hello there, handsome. Come on.
Whoa there, Ikoma.
Don't mind him. His bark is worse than his bite. But if you ain't got the kind, you bet. I've got to admit, your can't imagine you're half as fun normally. Would you look at that? I think he's lost the plot, Barry.
Sure looks like it.
You still here? Ah, so after some Medusa root, I see. Gonna cost ya. That stuff ain't cheap. 10 gold coins. Pleasure doing business with you.
Wow, I feel better already. For a moment there, I thought I'd be stuck like that forever. Maybe folk will start taking me more seriously now. Maybe.
Hey there!
Keep your hands to yourself.
Have you got a minute to talk?
He speaks. I see that Medusa root did the trick. What can I help you with, lad?
So, what's your story?
Story? What do you mean, lad?
Well, you know, tell me about yourself. A man of your stature must have seen his fair share of excitement.
Aye, that we have. You sure you got the time?
Sure, I love a good backstory.
Well, it all started back in the port of Bezelwick. Barry and I was working on a job. Simple smuggling run, nothing fancy. The sort of thing we've done 100 times over. You meet a guy, pick up the package, slip the ferryman a couple of coin and drop off at the next port. It was easy work and well paid to boot. Mind you, all good things have to come to an end. You see, Barry here didn't exactly have the strongest legs for seafaring. Was that normally a problem? We just slip a couple of locust berries and sleep through the night in the ship's hold. But this particular trip went a little different. Have you ever heard of the men with no noses?
The, men without noses?
Nasty folk want nothing more than to take what's not theirs. You see, these are folk who live for the sea. Born and bred on nothing but hardtack and seawater. Certainly not the type you would want to spend the night with. Anyway, we was about 3 skips from our port when this monster of a vessel came out of nowhere. I looked deaf in the eye that night. Literally. Those guys looked like they come fresh from the grave. Faces like a cat's arse. Skin hanging from their bones. I swear, those men ain't human. Not no more.
Didn't like the look of them one bit.
Barry here, God bless him, he saved my life. Slept through the whole ordeal, of course. Those locust berries weren't messing around. By the time he came to, the ship was empty. Nothing left but a gaping hole in the bulkhead. Barry had no choice. It was time to face his fear head on. With the lady taking water, Barry quickly fashioned himself a buoyancy aid. Strapping together beer kegs and backstays, he made a raft and took after the ugly buggers. Me, on the other hand, well, I did what I knew best. As soon as I squatted the pan, I made myself scarce. Found a tiny little stowaway on their ship, nestled in the back of their cargo hold. Figured it's safest to hide in the ship that currently wasn't being bombarded with cannonballs.
But what about Barry? You didn't try to save him?
Barry's not like you or me, son. Takes more than a few cannonballs to hurt this guy.
Aye.
Anyway, the wind was on his side and eventually Barry caught up with the ship. Slowly, he worked his way through, killing anyone who stood in his way. From the poop deck to the cockboat, to the gallery to the guns. Barry would seek vengeance however he saw fit. Meanwhile, I had discovered the booty of all booties. These men had the biggest haul of contraband I'd ever seen. Rows upon rows of crates, full to the brim with exotic spices and spirits. This was not an opportunity I was going to pass on. Anyway, Barry turned up, we commandeered the ship and sailed it back to the nearest port. The rest is history.
Wow, you guys are awesome! So, that's how you got all those exotic fruits and spices?
Most of them, yeah. We still need to top up from time to time. Having our own belt helps.
Wow, you could have been shackled and sold for labour if it wasn't for Barry. Or worse.
Like I said, I owe him my life.
You don't owe me nothing, boss.
Aw, guys.
So lad, what are you buying?
Why stay here though, in Wrinklewood?
Well, you see, after our somewhat troublesome time as seafaring folk, I made a promise to Barry. We set up shop just about as far away from any port as possible. He was never a fan of the Big Blue, and well, I was getting a little sick of hardtack by that point. So we travelled north and settled in the last town before the snow hits.
And here you are.
Yep, charming little place really. Nothing to bother us here.
Well, here's to many more years of peace and quiet.
I'll drink to that.
Aye, the easy life.
So, do you sell anything else? Besides, like, spices and fruits, I mean?
Not often. We get the occasional vintage cheese or preserve, that sort of thing. Why'd you ask?
Just wondering.
Well, be sure to stop by often. Our stock is always changing.
We had truffles last week. Bloody lovely they were.
Aye, polished them right off.
Neat. Thanks. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Don't mention it.
Please, sir, spare me a penny.
Not so fast. I should have 2 boots, my greaves, and my doublet. Then I can think about finding somewhere quiet to get changed.
Thank you, kind sir. Please, sir, spare me a penny.
Ouch. I think its leg is broken. Excuse me, sir. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Right, well, make it quick.
So, what are you up to?
Just turning the soil, ready for planting.
Oh, I think it's been turned enough.
Oh no, you see, it's gotta be real nice and fluffy, like a cloud. A black, thunderous cloud torn against the night sky.
Weird. I like your eye patch.
Thank you. It's become as much a part of me as the skin on my bones.
Do you ever take it off?
The world isn't ready to see the horror forsaken upon me.
Oh, right.
Please, do not pity me. Save your apathy for my brothers.
Your brothers?
The Sons of Liberty. Liberty was my mother, a kind woman with a heart of gold. Widowed and left to care for triplets. Eli, George and I. David. Despite our differences, my brothers and I worked hard to make a name for ourselves. Before long, our agricultural activities had earned up quite a desirable reputation. We clipped shrubs for the King and Queen of Westbridge, cultivated fruit for the Duke of Davner, and of course, tended the flora at the Castle Wrinklewood.
That's where I live.
Aye, a place I have not stepped foot in for 20 years.
Wow, that is a long time. So, why'd you stop working at the castle?
It's dangerous work being a groundsman. You never know what might be lurking behind a begonia.
Ain't that the truth?
We were young and careless. We had no idea such slippery beasts lurked behind those walls. I still remember the look in their eyes. As the scaled beast whipped its twisted toils around their necks, and just like that, the Sons of Liberty were no more.
That's so sad.
I will never forget that morning.
So, why the eye patch?
Oh, right, one of the snakes bit me, you see.
Ah, of course. Yep.
I thought that was obvious. Maybe I need to work on the delivery.
Well, I'll be seeing you.
Right you are.
It says, no dancing in the fountain. Of course, signs like these don't apply to guards like me. There were no... Thanks to Wrinkle...
Has something taken your fancy?
Actually, I have a few questions if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Always got time for my paying customers. You've got money, right?
Tell me about yourself, Sam.
Well, what would you like to know?
How about the story behind this here shop? Mighty fine collection of things you've got.
Why, thanks, Tonbert. Well, it's not that exciting, really. My father is a highly respected scholar and a mean adventurer to boot. He spends his life travelling far and wide, writing great stories of his discoveries. Every few moons he drops by, restocking the shop with all sorts of weird and wonderful things. Most of it is junk, but with the right marketing, you can sell anything. So, that's about it. I've never actually gone with him, but we've sure heard a lot of stories.
Wow, so all these things were found on different adventures?
That's right. It's like a game to him. Always trying to bring back something new and exciting.
Your dad seems like a cool guy.
Sure is.
You sure have a lot of reserved items.
Yep. Folk normally snap up the good stuff early on. If you'd like, I can sign you up to our mailing list. We're GDPR compliant. That way you'll know as soon as we get new stock.
That'd be great, thanks.
No problem. I'll drop it by the castle with Barracks.
Barrack is a member?
Sure is. He picked up a novelty pulley this morning.
Awesome! Secret club!
Shh! Secrets!
Thanks for the chat.
Has something taken your fancy?
Actually, I have a
Sure, you've got money.
You've not had anyone causing any trouble round here?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Why'd you ask?
Just doing my job. You let me know if there's anything to miss.
Don't see much bother around these parts, but I'll be sure to let the watch know.
Thanks, Sam.
Don't mention it.
Thanks for the...
Can I have this?
Sorry, mate. Display per...
Drat.
Tough luck, kid.
Yuck. It's a half-eaten. I really don't want...
Can't say a bit.
That's a lovely... What's it do?
One of our luxury items. They say it leads the way to an ancient city buried deep underwater.
Oh, I'm not sure I have time for an adventure of that scope.
I'm not sure you have the coin.
I've not got much use for a melted old mug. So, what's with the creepy necklace?
Oh, the whole thing. Well, it's said to be all that remains of a great explorer, an eye that has seen the world.
And the other, eyeballs?
Most likely just decorative.
Can I have it?
Can't let it go, I'm afraid. Besides, I've become kind of attached to it.
What about that fluffy pig fella at the top? Poor thing looks petrified.
Ooh. No, sorry. I really shouldn't even have that one on display.
Why is that?
There's no time to explain. Can I interest you in anything else?
That blow dart looks neat.
The what now?
That feathered thingy at the top there.
Oh, that. Been stuck there for years.
Doubt I could reach it anyway. What about those old stone discs? What are they exactly?
Just another relic from an ancient civilization.
Well, can I have them?
Afraid not. Those are part of a set. Worth a pretty penny if you have all four.
4?
Sure. Sun, Mond, Vulcan, and Tiddlypeep. We're missing the Tiddlypeep.
I'm not sure that's right.
Can I interest you in anything else?
What about that shiny teapot?
Ah, yes, the mystical lamp. One of a kind, that.
Can I have it?
Let me see. Straight out of luck, I'm afraid. That's one of our auction items. Unless you're happy to match the reserve price.
And how much is that?
2,599 quid. Can I interest you in anything else?
I'll take the brasserie.
And what exactly would you be planning on using that for?
I don't know. Guess it could come in handy.
Disgusting.
No, I mean, it's elasticated. Could have a whole number of uses.
Yeah, sure it could.
I'm not sure what you're insinuating.
But it's not for sale and we'll leave it at that. Can I interest you in anything else?
I'll take that tatty old book with the chain.
Another restricted item, I'm afraid, sir. You see, that there book is enchanted. They say it holds a key to traversing the void of space between worlds.
The what now?
Anyway, I can't sell it to you, I'm afraid. Not without a license. Can I interest you in anything else?
Could I have this one?
You want to see that old inkwell? Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that item is reserved. Could I interest you in something else?
Could I have this one?
A fine choice. A luxury item for sure. One moment, please. Yes, those will set you back 50 quid for the pair.
That's a lot of money for a pair of hand warmers.
Well, they're genuine white leather. What did you expect?
I'm not spending a month's wages on a pair of gloves.
Can I interest you in anything else?
Could I have this one?
You actually want those? I mean, I hear they're the height of fashion in the South Shores. You get that fancy hat too. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. It would seem those items have already been reserved. Looks like a Mr. M. Mayer is coming to pick those up tomorrow. Can I interest you in anything else?
Could I have this one?
You want those fancy smelly sticks? Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. That one's a special order.
Well, can I have it?
Wouldn't be worth my skin. Looks like a Mr. G. Threepwood is coming to pick it up this afternoon. Can I interest you in anything else?
So this relates to Monkey Island somehow? I don't know what the golden sticks are. I don't know most of these references.
Could I have this one?
You actually want those? I mean, I hear they're the hype. You get the fancy. Oh, I'm sorry. Looks like a Mr.
I don't know who M. Mayer
is coming to pick those up tomorrow. Can I interest you in anything else?
Ugh, I'm not sure I want that.
That one's a return item. Customer wasn't too happy with it. That's why it's just half the price. For a limited time only.
You couldn't pay me to take that away.
Right you are. Well, can I interest you in anything else?
Could I have this one?
Ah, the wizard's hat. Afraid I can't sell you one without a license. I'm gonna assume you ain't got one.
Well, not exactly.
Sorry, chap. We can't sell enchanted items without proof of ID. Can I interest you in anything else?
Could I have this one?
A fine choice. A lovely gift for a younger sister or granddaughter, perhaps? This particular item was handmade, stitch by stitch, by a very talented toysmith. Looks like you're in luck. We have 2 of these in stock at the moment.
That's great.
Of course, quality needlework comes with a price.
But a child's happiness is priceless.
Do I look like a charity? 50 quid.
Psh.
Can I interest you in anything else?
A pair of flintlock pistols embossed. I wonder if they still... Oh, can I have those?
Afraid not. Those are for display purposes only.
Oh, do they work?
Couldn't say. They've been here since I took over the shop.
So they might work?
Look, I'm not about to sell firearms to a minor.
I'm 24 in a bit.
Can I interest you in anything else?
I'll take that funny-looking petrified bird.
A fine keen taste in avian decor. They get their colour from a natural diet of brine shrimp and blue-green algae.
Sounds tasty. How much?
Let me see. Oh, my mistake. That item's on back order. Seems like a Mr. R. Wind has that particular item reserved. Can I interest you in anything else?
No idea who that is.
What a fine looking bonnet. Can I have it?
Well, don't you think something less pretty would be more suitable?
But I really like the bow.
I can't say you're exactly the target demographic, but let me check. Oh, silly me. That one's not even on the stock list. The bonnet belongs to one of our senior citizens. She brought it in for repair a few weeks back. Strange. She should have collected it by now. Anyway, can I interest you in anything else?
How about that peculiar looking box? The one with the smiley face?
Oh, right. Sorry, chap. That box is more important than you could possibly comprehend. A true relic from another world. I only just managed to get all the ink off. Couldn't ever part with it.
Oh, right you are.
Can I interest you in anything else?
Ooh, can I have the giant pig's head?
That's not for sale, kid. Can I interest you in anything else?
Drat.
Hey, hands off. That ain't for sale.
Ooh, I want the sharp pointy thing. Can I have it, please?
A mighty fine choice, sir. Let me just check stock. Okay, look, we do have the stock. There's just one caveat. Due to the nature of this item and following recent events involving a certain local businessman, I am unable to simply sell this to you. But if you were to, say, trade in another item in exchange for this, I would have no trouble parting with one.
What sort of thing are you looking for?
Mostly kitchenware, but we'll consider anything. Anything else take your fancy?
What's with that strange machine at the back?
Special order. It's missing a few bits. Should be here any time now.
Can I have it?
No.
I'll hold on to the fruit for now. I might get... Definitely too big.
Well, I'll be damned. Tomba!
Now, that's more like it.
Can't believe I didn't recognize you, Paul. How'd you mess up your face all like that?
Ugh, I've had the worst day, Barrack.
Need somebody's ear to bend? I'm here all day.
Well, after what seemed like a fairly successful birthday shift, I thought it rude but not sample a few of the drunken monk's finer beverages.
Wise.
This led deep into the night until dawn, for when I thought it appropriate to retreat into my dorm at the castle spire. Unfortunately, it became apparent this morning that I was missing a few things, hence my appearance.
Oh? Wow, that's a mighty unlucky turn of events, son.
You're telling me?
On the plus side, though, things can't get much worse. In fact, I've got something that'll make them half-inch better. Have a look in the chest. Keys hidden in the usual place.
It's locked tight. Barrack said the key is in the usual place. Should be in here somewhere. Bingo! It's so big, I don't know where I'd put it. Welcome to Ring 52! Aha, so that's where it was.
Kept it safe for you, Tonti.
He looks a little
Hands off!
Barrack's a good guy. Sometimes we drink bourbon and I like Barrack.
It's good to see you looking better, Tonti.
Nothing else in there.
It's good to see you.
Sorry, Tom, but can't let you past.
Official tape. We use this. I'm not normally stuck on this side, though. He doesn't look too happy. I'll leave him be. Looks like the jester's hat. That's the princess's guitar. There's a chair with the word director written on it. Must have fallen over. A big fluffy thing on a stick. I don't think he's going to let me... I don't... He doesn't look... I'll leave him. Birchwick looks... Saying that, he'll...
Hold it right there. Can't be seen letting you in looking like that, Tom, but rules is rules, I know.
I can't find half my stuff. Do you think I want to walk around in my blooming long johns?
Alright, lad. Enough of that lip.
Sorry, it's been a long day.
But it's only morning.
Right, so will you please let me in?
Sorry, son. Ain't gonna happen.
My doublet and plates. My trousers. A bit rusty, but they do the trick. One of my boots. One of my boots. My arm is for wearing, not, whatever. It's a little crowded here. I'd rather get changed. If you'd care to spare a minute, sir, I have a few questions.
Go on then, but be quick with it. I've got work to do.
So, what is it you do here exactly?
What kind of question is that? You blind or something?
I mean, clearly you, make swords and stuff.
Aren't you a clever one? Yes, I make swords and stuff.
And other stuff?
Broadswords, halberds, spears, flail, battle axes, caltrops, daggers, maces, crossbows, battens, mail, plate armor.
Wow, you sure are talented.
Someone's got to do some work around here.
So, what would it take to get one of those shiny new swords?
A lot more than you can afford, that's for sure. Besides, these are all made on commission. We don't do walk-ins.
I'll have you know I work for the Wrinklewood Night's Watch.
You think I don't know that? Small town like this, not a lot gets past me. I also know you waste most of your wages over at the Drunken Monk, Tondbert.
I like to support local businesses.
Look, these swords ain't made for folk like you and me. Why don't you pop on down to Sam's, see if she's got something for you? Might be a bit more in your price range.
I doubt it. Thanks for your time.
Be seeing you.
What's all this about then?
Leave me alone, would you?
I should ask the blacksmith if I want to borrow any of his I don't fancy carrying around...
Keep your grub at furnace. I don't need pest...
Right,
Oi, keep your wee little hands off.
But they're so shiny.
You don't need your hands to look.
Fine. If you'll excuse me. Ta-da! I'm not going fishing around in there. Ugh, gross. I'm not going fishing around in... Ugh, gross.
Sorry about earlier, man. No hard feelings, eh?
This has been here for as long as I can remember. The Royal Coat of Arms, a call sign for Wrinklewood's great heritage. The Castle Register keeps track of everything that comes. Shame, can't make any sense of it. Hey there!
Ah, yes, Tonbert, isn't it?
That's me.
And how can I help you today, Tonbert?
So, tell me everything you know about the castle.
My pleasure. You've come to the right man. I've lived behind these walls since long before any of you folk were born. Simpler times they were.
How so?
Well, it was all bricks and mortar back in my day. None of these fancy flags and shiny floors. You see, we weren't the first folk to live in Wrinklewood. Quite the opposite.
What do you mean?
Well, long before your king, there was another, and another there before. The first king of Wrinklewood was nothing more than a bully and a thief. An entitled rich boy from the Seven Kingdoms who stopped at nothing to get what he desired. A man with absolutely no respect for those who came before him. He raided the town and murdered its occupants, paving the way for his entitled regime. What was once a sacred house of worship became his home.
You mean the castle?
Exactly. He filled the halls with this cheap tat and paved over the entranceway to the catacombs.
You mean to say there are people buried underneath the castle?
Doesn't really feel right, does it? Anyway, he didn't last long. Was soon overthrown by one of the Alcafard brothers, Pembrim. Pembrim Alcafard was a wicked man. Much like his predecessor, he was interested in little but riches and wealth. Pembrim reigned over Wrinklewood for many years, as I sat by and watched what was once a beautiful, civilized town become nothing more than another cog in the Alcafard war machine. That's why there's so many of you guards. After the war, there was nothing left to fight for. The Alcafard brothers had conquered the lands and left no stone unturned. Soon, Pembrim grew tired, disbanded his post and set course back to the Seven Kingdoms. Of course, someone had to pick up the pieces. That's where Theodore came in.
King Theodore! Woo!
I couldn't have been happier when Theo took the reins. Such a kind fellow. He was exactly what this town needed.
That he is. I couldn't imagine a better man for the job.
Quite. I could certainly imagine a few worse. Well, I guess that's about it. Any questions?
What do you know of the wildlands beyond the gates?
Only that which I've seen in my youth. There's the Elder Scar, formed thousands of years ago after the first fight of gods and men. The Deadwoods, a deep, sprawling maze of withered oak filled with unimaginable terrors. Not for the light of heart, I assure you. Beyond that is the greater northern region. I've yet to meet any man who dare venture into those treacherous peaks. Oh, and I hear we now have an outbreak of wrinkleworm, not far north of the town gates.
Wrinkleworm?
Ghastly things, fully grown, they're the size of a house, with jaws the size of doors.
Should we not be a little concerned?
Not a lot we can do. Besides, it seems to have nested ready for the winter months.
Yikes, well, thanks. I'll be sure to give that one a miss. I've heard a lot of talk of the Southern Kingdoms.
South of Wrinklewood are many kingdoms, towns, ports, and cities. There's the 7 cities of Alcafard, the port of Bezelwick, the sprawling farmland of Davna, Hardington House, and Chiseldine, to name a few. Travel even further, and you'll come across the Southern Kingdoms, a place where the rich and wealthy gorge themselves on fancy wine and expensive cheeses.
That sounds delightful.
You wouldn't like it. They eat fish for breakfast.
Ugh.
Right, of course. If you'd like to know more, you can always consult a tome from the castle library.
I might just do that. Thanks.
Not a problem, sir.
What do you know of the wildlands?
Only that which I've seen in my youth. There's the Elder Scar, formed thousands of years ago after the first fight of gods and men.
Did I already sit through this?
The Deadwoods, a deep, sprawling maze of withered oak filled with unimaginable terrors. Not for the light of heart, I assure you. Beyond that is the greater northern region. I have yet to meet any man who dare venture into those treacherous peaks. Oh, and I hear we now have an outbreak of wrinkleworm, not far north of the town gates.
Wrinkleworm?
Ghastly things, fully grown, they're the size of a house, with jaws the size of doors.
Should we not be a little concerned?
Not a lot we can
pay
do.
better attention.
Besides, it seems to have nested ready for the winter months.
Yikes. Well, thanks. I'll be sure to give that one a miss. That was very The castle register. Shame. Can't make any sense of it. If I want to see the register, words don't make any sense from... Hey there.
Hi.
That's me.
And...
That was...
You touch me, I break Tiny Man, and I make white skin soup.
Knuckles, because he's always clicking them. Knuckles.
Tombert, you're looking better.
You guys suck.
Did I just hear that right?
Don't appreciate that tone of voice, Tombert.
But you had me kicked out of the castle, in my blooming long johns.
No. How exactly was we to know that was you?
Yeah, you weren't exactly talking proper.
Didn't make no sense from what I heard.
And yet, normally you're so quick to notice my dwarven roots.
Lot of dwarves about.
Yeah, you ain't so special.
Normally have beards though, wouldn't you say?
He's playing silly buggers with you.
You looking for an encore? Dusty?
No, wait a second. Look, I'm really sorry. I was just frustrated. It's been a rough morning. I've overstepped my mark.
Look, Bobby's shaking.
I'm really sorry, guys. I just wanted to see the king.
What you want Dusty for? I'm not sure. Do we have a problem here, Tombert?
Certainly not. No, nada. No, just on my way. It was lovely talking to you, fellas.
All right, Dusty. That'll be all. Dusty tired. King will be very happy to see you, Tombert. Here, give him this when you see him.
What is it?
Nothing fancy, is it?
No. Nothing interesting. Just some pantry requisition or something. Go on your way.
Psst, Knuckles, did he take it? Delivering the message as we speak.
Man, you guys are too hard on him.
Rather him than me.
I'll drink to that.
What do you think the king will do?
Beats me. Ain't gonna be pretty.
Only time will tell.
What was I just in? Act 0?
Ah, Tombert! Where have you been, lad?
My apologies, sir. You see, I've had the worst...
Yes. You see, I've looked everywhere. Would you happen to know where my daughter is?
No, my lord. Not seen Miss Fairman since the tournament.
Crafty little whippersnapper. Oh, what's that you've got there, lad?
Here you go, my lord. Believe it's a pantry requisition.
Right. At the hour of sunrise this morn.
Ready?
Okay, Fool's Gold, Act 4, and... Tybalt, start the bleeding camera! Action!
There once was a man with the will of a warrior. He guarded the kingdom whilst most laid their head. To carry his duties through ice, wind and rain. To know that his efforts are never in vain. I guess that's my singing practice done for today. Oh boy, I can't wait to eat supper. I'm a poor orphan and I haven't eaten in 4 days. Oh no, who is this strange man approaching me?
I'm here to take all your gold.
But I'm but a poor orphan peasant and I don't have any money.
Then I will take your loot.
No, anything but my music.
What was that? Oh, the crystal's gone again. I told you not to buy the cheap ones.
Oh my.
Bloody idiot! The king will have our heads for this.
Definitely something bad going on over there. Do you guys not hear that?
Surprise! The look on your face. Priceless. Anyway, you're coming with me.
Princess Faramir is missing!
Oh, God. Sir, you... never fear, sir. Tombert will her. He will save her. You can be sure of that. I'll go to the end of the world for Faramir. I mean, hopefully I won't have to. I'm sure she's not gone that far, right? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna leave now.
I'm telling you, mate, this ain't no taxi.
Silence! I demand you take me beyond the scar.
No, not gonna happen, mate. You can stand there all day for what I care. Ain't nothing stopping me from doing my job.
Tundra Expelsi!
Why'd you do that?
What's the matter, Tombert? King not like the news?
I can't believe you guys.
Hey, somebody had to tell him.
Yeah, and you were so insistent on us letting you in. Just made sense, you know?
Oh, please tell me someone is out there looking for her.
Oh, don't worry, you little lad.
Yeah, we got the Knights of Wrinklewood to handle that one. 4 of Wrinklewood's most decorated heroes rode out of those gates this morning.
But they're old and, well, quite rotund.
Hey, it's not my place to comment on the physical stature of those lads.
Yeah, King Payton boys are pretty paddy for their troubles. Yeah, I'm sure they'll have her back in no time at all. Meanwhile, I suggest you find someone else to bother.
Yeah, scram kid. We've seen enough of you.
Poor Faramir. The Knights of Wrinklewood are no match for what lives beyond those gates. They're veterans, not heroes. There must be something I can do. I'm not ready to just sit by and wait for the funeral. Not again. Damn it, Tombert, think! Ugh, that's not important now. That's it. The note said that the princess vanished this morning while filming the final act of her new flicky, Fool's Gold. The scene took place up on Lover's Walk, cast against the morning sunrise. I bet there I'll find a clue to solving this whole mess. This is my one chance to prove myself. I can't cock this up.
I bet you will.
Sorry, Tombert, can't let you past. I happen to be looking after an important crime scene, one which you're not allowed in.
Hey, have you got a minute?
Doesn't look like I'm going anywhere fast.
Tell me everything you know about the kidnapping.
Why?
I need to know every last detail. It's really important.
Well, I wasn't there or anything. All I know is what Hendrik told me.
Tell me what he told you.
Just there was this big flash in the sky, then the cinemagraph thing broke. Before they knew it, there's this big old bang and everyone started freaking out. It wasn't until they stopped screaming that they realised Faramir was missing.
So it was definitely some kind of witchcraft.
Seems so. If you want to know more, you should go talk to Hendrik. He was there when all this happened.
Remind me, who's Hendrik?
Big fella, with the beard. He's got hair the colour of flame. Guy knows more about a kidnapping than anyone.
Let's chat. You're new here, right? Tell me a little about yourself.
I'd rather not.
Huh?
Honestly, I'm really not in the mood, Tombert. Save it for another day, yeah?
Oh, okay. Hope you feel better soon. Anything?
Since when have I reported to you?
Hey, we're on the same team here. You not see anything, suspicious?
No, mate, same old.
Well then, keep your eyes peeled.
Whatever you say, Tom Burt.
Thanks. Catch you later.
Aye.
He's not going to let me take that. As much as I'd like a fancy hat with bells and that, it looks nice and fluffy, but I don't think he'll let me take it. He's not going to let me take it. Not that I have much use for a broken guitar.
Which one was Hendrik?
Gotta admit, you did look kinda messed up earlier. Even feet.
A striking likeness of our hero painted by the greatest artisan in all the lands. Such a modest fella.
Oi, hands off!
It's Bub. He's alright sometimes.
What do you mean, sometimes?
Knuckles, because he's always clicking them. Your Majesty, if I could just take a minute of your time. There's no getting through to him. I need to find Ferrimint as fast as possible. She must be the new light. Hey there, I've got a few questions.
What's puzzling you?
So, what's the oldest book you've got?
Why, that'd be the Royal Register. It's been around as long as this castle. Your name will be in there somewhere. And mine.
So it's not just for royals?
Oh no. Everyone who's worked in the castle gets added to the register. Eventually. My father's in there, and his father before him.
Neat! Can I see?
I'm afraid the register's off limits to folk like us. Is there anything else I can help you with?
So, how'd you end up working in the library?
Here? Well, it's kind of a long story. You sure you've got the time?
I'm in a bit of a rush, but I'm a sucker for a good story.
Is that so? Well, you come to the right place.
Go on, give me the highlights.
All right, I'll make it quick. You see, I was born here in Wrinklewood, but a stone's throw from the castle. My family owned the house by the gates, and each morning I'd wake up to the sun blazing beyond the wall. As I was growing up, my father would always tell the best stories, tall tales of the world beyond the gates. Tales of how he travelled from the 7 cities, met my mother in Basilwick, and built a house here in Wrinklewood. I guess I was always more interested in the things out there than I was in here. When I came of age, I couldn't hold my curiosity back. It was time to see the lands for myself. I travelled far and wide, meeting quite the collective along the way. I picked up work where I could and never looked back. I found myself settling in a small town not dissimilar to this, called Ardington. You might have heard of it.
Wasn't that the place that,
Yeah. Burnt to the ground. Truly tragic. I lost a lot of good friends that day.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Ah, what's life without a little tragedy? Besides, that was where my book turned a new leaf. Or page, you could say. The kind folk of Wrinklewood were truly supportive in their efforts to help us Ardingtons. For weeks, we were sifting through rubble, trying to salvage anything of worth. Sadly, there was little left of the town library. Many folk still blame us for the fire, you know?
Us?
No, mind my words. Seems I jumped the gun a little there. There were 3 of us, the bookkeepers of Arding House. Alas, my colleagues weren't so fortunate.
So what? You moved back to Wrinklewood and became our bookkeeper?
Exactly that. I think my mother appreciated the help. Despite her best efforts, she's not as young as she used to be. No.
Wow, you've gone through so much and yet...
No more than most folk. But I'm glad to say I've seen the lands.
Well, colour me impressed.
Oh, nothing a brave guard like yourself hasn't seen before, right?
Yeah, sure. Anyways, I best be going. Thanks for the story.
Do mention it.
So, where were you when the sun rose this morning?
Well, I was here early. Had to check the inventory again. Why'd you ask?
I'm asking everyone. Hopefully someone saw something suspicious.
Oh well, I'm afraid I can't help you there. Nothing much happens round here.
No trouble. Thanks for your help.
Anything else? Just ask.
Ta, thanks for your help.
Don't mention it. That's what I'm here for.
I can't reach it from here. There must be hundreds of books. I should speak to the librarian. There must be hundreds. I should speak to the...
Stop right there. I'm afraid our extensive collection of literature is for members only.
But I work here.
Sorry, sir. Even the Royal Guard have to have a membership card.
Right.
Thank you and have a nice day.
Where on earth can I get a membership card? There's a study. Just gotta find a way over there. Hey there!
What?
You said something about a library card.
Sure. Can't access the books without one, I'm afraid.
How do I become a member?
Well, it's simple, really. The clerk will have all the relevant paperwork.
Oh, okay.
Is there a problem?
No, it's just... that guy can be a little slow, you know?
He's a busy man. Still working at his age. You've got to give it to him. Come back when you've got your membership card.
Anything new?
Nothing new, I'm afraid. Apart from the advisor, you're the only person we've had come in here.
I'll have to keep looking. Thanks anyway. Thanks for your help.
Don't mention it. That's what I'm here for.
It's Bub.
What do you mean?
Oi, and...
Hey there.
Ah, yes. Tonbert, isn't it?
That's me.
And how can I help you today, Tonbert?
So, where were you when the sun rose this morning?
This morning, I was in my quarters, resting. A man of my age needs his sleep. I'm not as fit as I used to be, that's for sure.
And have you perchance seen anything remotely suspicious this morning?
You mean, apart from the part where you were thrown out of the castle in nothing but your long johns?
Yeah, I'm trying to forget that bit.
Not really, lad. No. I was, however, a little perplexed upon arriving to my post this morning.
How so?
Well, you see, each night when retreating to my chambers, I make sure that all of my papers are locked away safely in this here podium. Except this morning, they were not. The podium was unlocked, and a number of my papers were strewn across the floor. Troublesome children, no doubt.
Sounds mighty suspicious to me. I'll take note of it, thanks.
If you could get to the bottom of it, I'd be most grateful. Can't have layabouts messing around with the royal records.
I am having trouble finding my library card. The lady in the library won't let me in without one.
Quite a pickle. Where did you last have it?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be here. Can't I just apply for a new one?
Right you are. Well, in that case, I'll just need to see some ID.
Drat. Ugh. Guess I should check the Drunken Monk. Pretty sure they have a lost property box. That was very... I'd find my key if I have been lost for years. It leads down to it's locked up. I'll leave it where it is. How else would people know? It says King.
Honestly, I'm kind of bored. This feels more slow-moving than usual, than what I expect from an adventure game. Found Hendrik at least. Save. Looking for Hendrik and library card. I'm going to pause and take a break.